But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
I really wanted to do a story that put Batman as a character at the center of the arc.
Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
Something where you take an imperfect Batman and give him a story, a detective story, and then find a way to have that story take him on a journey that I guess sort of reveals the corruption, the history of the city, but ends up doubling back and becoming very personal and talking about the origins that we don't see, so that it became something that could rock him and that his character could have an awakening. The arc of the story really, and the awakening that I wanted, is I wanted to begin in a place of the desire for vengeance. Batman is about to kick some ass, and you know what? I want him to. But then over the course of the story is meant to unsettle you in a way and ask if that's the question. And you get to a place where suddenly he's like, wait, is that the path? Is that what I should be doing? And that is really that was one of the very early concepts of what I wanted.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
To me, the idea of cinema is this idea of empathy. You put somebody into the shoes of characters who are not, and you put them into a subjective experience and a kind of an atmospheric experience that's both sound and picture, in such a way that they start to feel what the characters in those situations would feel. You start to feel the tension, the fear of the suspense. You start to feel what it would feel like to be in that moment. It's actually why I love shooting digitally, even though I love film. But I think to be able to have that control so that you can render that experience as precisely as possible, and then to be able to have, knowing that you're going to be able to tweak that to just within an inch of itself when you're in the Dolby Vision, that's a very wonderful thing to know that you have.
Part of what was great about Dolby Vision was like, no, we guarantee that every cinema that is doing Dolby Vision will look like this. So it really, I mean, it's rewarding for us because we spend so much time, sweating over every little detail to know that the audience will have that exact experience. So that was the real exciting thing for me.
One of the things that was important to me was that flare moment at the end. Like, it was really important to me because of what it meant that flare be lighting the scene. And so there's a very subtle amount of sort of, skylight to give it just a little bit of rim, just a little bit of like, what does dark look like in pure dark? But that scene is almost primarily lit with that flare. And the idea of that has a very particular, powerful look.
We had this extended range, so we could reach down into the blacks that we haven't seen since we were purely film.
If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left.
The great thing about Atmos, for me, it takes what is normally sort of a boxing ring where everyone is fighting for their space, and it expands that, and it gives room for everyone to do what you need to do. So you don't always have to then pull back sound effects as much as you normally would, or pull back music as much to make room for, because you can put these things in places where everything can live together in harmony.
I don't care what happens to me.
It's only going to get worse for you.
I would describe it as, the kind of reference level perfect way to see the movie that you want to see. The sound is as faithful to what it should be. It's we mixed in Atmos. So when you're hearing it in Atmos, you're hearing everything we intended. The range, the dynamic range. It's the visual representation and the sound representation, I feel like, is just reference level perfect in terms of it being, if you want to see what the intention of the filmmaking was, it is really the way to see the movie. It's definitely as close to what we intended as possible for you to have that experience.
I got you! I got you!